Fluid and fundamental physics, space exploration, hardware and human space and habitation. There are some experiments that can only be performed in weightlessness. And since that's not generally possible, there's a unique way to do it on Earth, but only if you can stomach it. Experiencing weightlessness has only been a dream for many in this airplane hangar at Oakland International Airport Saturday.
When I was a kid and you read about, the training that they did, and you kind of like, oh, I wish I could do that, and, never thought it was possible. San Mateo resident Jack Kang is about to experience floating like in space through a company called Zero G, whose retrofitted 727 aircraft does what's called parabolic flights to simulate weightlessness. After that safety briefing, we head to the tarmac.
So right now, I've been up in airplanes, I've taken flight lessons, I've been up in helicopters, but this is something unique. I have never done anything like this before, so I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also a little nervous at the same time.
The aircraft has only a few seats in the back. The rest of the fuselage, though, covered in protective padding.
It smells like it's definitely been cleaned a lot of times.
After reaching 35,000 feet in the air, the aircraft begins the process. When it reaches a 45-degree curve, weightlessness begins, where passengers experience 20 seconds of microgravity. Several of these maneuvers are performed during the flight.
Whoa! This is an incredible experience.
On board the aircraft were Mountain View residents Stephanie Lynn and Ben McCann.
It's like magic. Feels like magic.
It was unreal when the plane started to go down and you just start to lift up off the ground.
And believe it or not, there's some on this flight who've already experienced weightlessness in space, like Chris Bosshausen. That's him right next to the original captain of the Star Trek Enterprise, William Shatner, on the Blue Origin flight last December.
I had the seat next to Shatner's, and so he begged me not to kick him in the head when we became weightless.
Pierre-Damien Vujor of San Francisco is training to become a crew coach on Zero G.
I think part of the excitement around space in general, for sure.
Plus, astrophysicist Serafina Nance of Berkeley, who appeared in this year's Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, using the platform to share two issues important to her, being a BCRA2 breast cancer previvor and
share that scientists and women can be and do anything. We can be scientists and we can be models, and we can be on a beach in a swimsuit.
Nance was also on that flight with former NASA Space Shuttle captain Terry Vertis, who spent 200 days on the International Space Station. He told us that Zero G flight is the true experience, just as he remembered it.
I'm weightless, like it was completely riding a bike.
Well, that was a lot of fun on board the Zero G aircraft, but there's also a scientific bent to being weightless in space. So joining me now is CEO of Zero G, Matt Goad. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Matt, you're also an Oakland native, by the way. The flights go around the country. You're not based here, but you grew up here.
I did. I grew up in the Oakland Hills. I went to Redwood Heights, Bret Harte, and Skyline High, and proud to be here.
Yeah.
So, and delivered papers for the Oakland Tribune.
The Oakland Tribune as well, and now you are...
Now I train astronauts, and take people and do amazing science.
It was incredible experience. I mean, I want to talk about the scientific bent, as we mentioned before. We showed that that's a lot of fun, but you also train astronauts. How does Zero G help train astronauts for their missions?
So first, I do want to say a shout out to Bakara, Cece, Charlotte, Oliver, and Louise. Miss you guys.
Who are those?
Kids back home.
All right, fantastic.
And so you don't want your first time in a zero gravity environment to be in a zero gravity environment.
Sure. Yeah.
So for taking up astronauts before, NASA trained astronauts like this, going back a ways, same way, parabolic flights, plane goes up, does this. So it's important to get that feeling of what it's like when you're either going into the ISS or going around the Earth in a capsule, how that feels, because it is so unique. Right. You got a chance to feel the exact same thing that those astronauts feel.
Yeah, it's just an incredible experience. Now, also on board, they do experiments. There are a lot of experiments that need to be done in Zero G from universities around the world, scientists. So what kind of experiments are performed on Zero G flights?
So one of the really cool ones we did a while ago was the first 3D printing of a human heart before the 3D printer went to the ISS.
Wow! And what did they want to see? They wanted to see
how it works in a weightless environment.
Were you able to? I know
it was a little before my time, but it worked obviously because now it's up there, and that's one of the things it's capable of doing.
And what other experiments?
So we did an experiment last year where having a freezer in space is difficult. And so we tested literally a commercial freezer and with some modifications, so its next trip will be to the ISS.
Wow, and that was done on a zero-G flight as well.
So we've done hundreds and hundreds of experiments. It's a real key to what we do.
One of the things I wasn't able to capture on video here is something I've always seen done on the space shuttle or ISS is when you squeeze out water and it comes out in the circle. And I caught it. I thought it was going to splash all over my face. One of the gentlemen I spoke to just a moment ago, he said it splashed him on the face. But yeah, it's a challenge to do that. But you also help out. There's something called the Astro Access, Mission Astro Access. Tell us a little bit about that.
So what we've done, and we've done 2 flights now, and we're going to be doing a 3rd, is we take up 12 extraordinary individuals, engineers, former test pilots, all these people who would be astronauts with the exception of having some significantly disabilities, whether they're mobility constrained, sight, or sound. And we've created an experience for them so they can do a zero-G flight, and with the real idea that space should be open to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's very impactful to do that. It's impactful for them when you think about what their life has been, and not to belittle it, they've had amazing lives, but to have that opportunity to feel what it would be like to be in space is an amazing thing we get to do as well.
Have you done that before? And what are you hearing from the folks that are participating in that flight?
It's the best day ever in their lives. I mean, Stephen Hawking, who we took up a long time ago, which is iconic, and he said it was the first time in his life he felt free. He did 8 parabolas and suspended in the cabin, and they asked to be kind of spun a little bit. And,
wow, and so that worked out for him, huh?
It was amazing.
And so how are those planned? Are those a couple times a year?
Yeah, so we'll probably do 1 to 2 Mission Astro Access flights a year, and then we do probably 40 plus research flights, and then astronaut training, and then consumer flights like you, and companies charter the plane and take up team members and all that.
Keep very, very busy. And I know a lot of people in the space community that we interviewed there, they are just itching to be just coaches. They just want to be coached on the flight to help out because it's such a unique experience and they get to do it pretty often.
It's the single most unique thing you can do. You've done it. You're a vet.
Yeah, it's amazing. Matt, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. The information is on the Zero G website. It's about $8,200 per person as a consumer if you want to go. So if you just go to Zero G website, you'll find that information there. Sal, back over to you.
Thanks.